Nikki Coe.
Chair, talo for lava. I want to start by summing up the Labour opposition this evening. Smear, fear and scare. That is all they're interested in. They haven't been talking about this legislation. And I want to make, the first point I want to make is John Key has done more for Auckland in 18 months than that party did in 9 years. So,
that's not true. They had Judith Tucker.
That's right, that's right. He's done more for Auckland, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's this bill. And I want to start as well by dealing with some of the issues that have come up by the opposition. The first issue is what they've called lack of democracy. Well, let's look at the double standards of the Labour Party when they talk about democracy. We were the party that stood for 21 local boards. That party stood for 6 to 12. We stood for greater local democracy. They did not. I want to raise another issue in terms of democracy this evening. We saw something extraordinary. That party talks about local democracy. We have an SOP from the Honourable Maurice Williamson, the Honourable Pansy Wong. 92% of that community wanted change. And what are the Labour Party doing? They're voting against it. Again, the double standards of the Labour Party in terms of democracy. The other issue that we've got is community boards. Members opposite fail to talk about the lack of power that these structures have in Auckland. And what we're offering is a principle of subsidiarity. We're offering which says that decisions will go local unless it can be proved that they're regional. We've offered within the legislation as well a guarantee that they will be adequately funded. We have offered more protection for local communities than that party has ever offered. Mr Speaker, I want to also deal with the issue of greater representation for disadvantaged groups, because we hear a lot about that from the opposite side. But when it comes to the crunch, this legislation has the power to actually offer, whether it's Pacific Island communities or youth communities, greater representation for those disadvantaged groups. And we heard recently from members opposite that they didn't think that the clause around youth representation was actually going to offer anything for young Aucklanders. Well, I've already dealt with some of those issues, and I have said to members opposite that it is a very difficult thing to put within the legislation a particular forum. There were many groups that came to the Select Committee. They were not agreed. They argued for youth congresses, to youth councils, and I'm confident we have actually struck the right balance between ensuring that there is an obligation on the Mayor and ensuring that the young people of Auckland actually have a voice. The third issue that I want to deal with is actually around the CCOs, and I want to acknowledge the Honourable George Hawkins, the only member of the Labour Party that has actually made a decent contribution to this piece of legislation. And we've seen that in the SOP that's been accepted this evening, and I thank him for his contribution. We have made significant changes in this bill around the CCOs. We are striking the balance of delivering a strong regional entity that will finally deliver the infrastructure and services across Auckland. We've got strong local boards. We've got CCOs that are now going to be more accountable as a result of amendments like the ones that George Hawkins has suggested. But also, they will all be linked by one plan, and we will have one Mayor. We are, in this party, delivering transformational legislation. And I say to members opposite, I want to thank all of the Aucklanders that participated in this process. There were three pieces of legislation. We had Select Committee hearings over 2 of them. We had many submissions. And I want to thank all of those Aucklanders that participated in that process. I want to thank the New Zealand Herald for actually covering it as well. Because I think what we've seen, and we saw it in their recent comments, is a workable structure for Auckland. We are going to have greater representation for disadvantaged groups. We're going to have greater efficiency in terms of our services. We are going to have greater outcomes from an environmental, cultural, economic perspective across Auckland. This side of the House stands for greater local democracy, and we are delivering that. And finally, I'd like to thank my constituents within Auckland Central, a very diverse electorate, from Waiheke to the CBD to the Western Bays to Great Barrier Island, and I've had some great feedback from them because currently there are many communities within Central Auckland that haven't had a voice, like Waiheke Island, who have been absolutely shafted under the current Auckland governance system, and I'm proud to be delivering better local democracy for them and better services across Auckland. Thank you very much. And I just want to finish by saying this. This legislation has been contributed by all of the Auckland National MPs. There are many MPs who couldn't be in the House tonight. I want to acknowledge Peseta Sam Lotoinga. I want to acknowledge Jackie Blue. I Paula Bennett. Thank you.
Chairman.